Plantronics has this really interesting technology that they were trying to demonstrate, basically controlling the noise in office environments by introducing natural sounds.
They realized that people really like to have nature in their workspace, so they created this really cool system that helps to obscure the sounds of people talking around you, helps you focus more. Right. The original concept for this spot came from the idea of you want to bring nature into the office, and so we thought, well, how do we bring the office to nature? This was a big scripting project. This is a big part of every project we do, but especially for this one, when you have a complex subject that you need to distill. I think we had over 12 locations. Wow, there's nothing confusing about this call. This was definitely one of my favorite projects of the year because we finally were ready to unleash the robot. We figured we'd try to come up with as many scenes as possible to use the robotic arm. We did wraparounds, we put it in a river, we tried doing cloning shots. Rowan was cloned 13 times. And I remember that the reason we actually came up with this is that we realized we needed a whole bunch of extras for the scene.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that's when we thought, like, well, what if we just take Rowan, who's the actor, and duplicate him?
Right. And we had some of those scenes where multiple clones were interacting or pieces had to come together.
That's really easy to do with basic VFX with a locked off camera like we have in our studio.
Like, sure.
So all we do is we basically draw a line and do a rough mask here. And so as long as I stay in my world and he stays in his world, it's not a problem. Now if I cross into his world, it creates a little more work. And that's just if the camera's locked off. When the camera's moving, that creates another level of complexity. Now that's where the robot comes in, because we're able to do the move over and over again down to the 10th of a millimeter precision.
And then we finally came up with the idea of him interrupting himself, which is now a timing game because you have to make sure that all clones, even though you're shooting them 1 hour apart, at the exact same moment, they have to look up and react to himself.
Shh. Sorry.
Then there was the white noise scene, which is probably one of the more comical scenes in the whole piece. We had him multiply it as this tennis player basically with a loudspeaker making a white noise sound. Is this loud enough? What do you think?
You never played a wind instrument,
So for that scene, you have to go in order of complexity of costume. The host, 2 computer guys, 2 white noise guys, and the caveman, all played by Rowan.
Yep.
We wanted to have an office in the middle of the creek.
That's right. So let's bring the robot to a creek bed.
We're putting 25, 30 pounds, 1.5 meters out over the water.
Plus you're on unstable rocks in the creek.
Almost 400 pounds of sandbags just to keep the thing rooted. That's pretty much all the sand we have in our truck. So we just started picking up these boulders out of the creek and setting it on the stands.
River rocks.
Yeah, it works great.
The idea was to bring a miniature office into nature, but shoot it so macro that it looks like a normal sized office. And so we had Zoe, who is our art director, design this perfect little miniature office.
But we can't resist our innate biological preference for nature.
Another really cool shot that we thought we'd try with the robot in this video was a nice orbiting whip move around a woman's head.
We measured the distance from the camera sensor to what would be the middle of her head, set that as our offset, and then when you do a rotation around that point, the whole robot comes around to pan.
3, 2, 1, Joe.
The Niagara Falls scene was the first scene we ever shot on our brand new site. And then part of the challenge I remember was also trying to get enough wind blowing on him. That worked out really well. He looks like he's on that boat.
Not the rushing water of Niagara Falls! Not the rushing water of Niagara Falls! Perfectly clear. Camera speeding. Spot. Motion. Action.
It's such a simple yet extremely complex technology that Plantronics is trying to demonstrate. And I think the video does a really good job of kind of demonstrating that in a way that just brings it home and people are like, oh, I get it. And we're entertained the whole time.
Right.
Our innate biological preference for nature.
That was sweet. That was really good. We were right on everything. All right, guys. Awesome job. Thanks so much.